All right, we'll get started. We'd like to welcome the champion of the 2022 Hero World Challenge into the interview room, Viktor Hovland. Viktor, back-to-back, as you've heard a couple times, first player to do that at this tournament since Tiger Woods in 2006 and 2007. And as we talked about on the card over here, you made it interesting at the end, but found a way to pull it out. So just, thoughts on the day and winning this tournament back-to-back.
Yeah, I thought I had a very nice start. Hitting the ball well and giving myself chances. Scotty just had a phenomenal start and kind of pushed me to keep going. I think I was 3 under through 5 holes, and I was only leading by 1. And if I was thinking before the day started, I probably, if I get off to a nice start, I can really build a good lead. So hats off to him. He played some great golf. And then kind of middle portion of the round, I just kept making parts and kind of put it to him to try to come back. But it was a little up and down overall today, but glad to finish it off.
We'll take some questions out here. We'll start with
How long was the shot after the drop on 18? How many yards did you have? 80?
I had 109 meters.
109 meters.
About 120. Yeah.
What was going through your head at that point?
Not many positive thoughts. It's like when you're standing there with a 2-shot lead, it's like that's the last thing you can do. Basically, just do anything else but hit in the water in the second shot. So as soon as that happened, that was pretty frustrating. But I knew that he didn't have a gimme par, so if I can wedge it up there close, I can still make a putt and win the tournament. And if not, well, he still has to make a par to force me to a playoff. But it was a lot more stressful than it should have been. I've been starting to do both, which is not good, but it just depends on my surroundings, I guess.
We'll take one from Joy right here in the front.
Hey, Viktor. 2 years, last year you denied Colin Morikawa from becoming world number 1. This year you did the same thing to Scotty Scheffler. You're getting pretty good at this, isn't it?
Yeah, I like this place, but I would like to do it a bit more often.
I wanted to ask you about your putting, especially, because at the start of the week you came here, you spoke about putting and how hard you've been working on it. That's one area of the game that you were not happy with. And then this week, you just putted the lights out of this golf course. 23 putts yesterday, 24 today. The kind of putts that you made. Can you just tell us about that and what you really made happen this week with that putter of yours?
Yeah, it was frustrating the first 2 days because it was I did not putt very well. I missed a lot of short putts, but it was very hard to putt in the 30-mile-an-hour wind. The greens are really fast and they're pretty grainy, so it's you have to hit those putts very softly, and there's so much that can happen with the wind. The last 2 days, it's been still windy but fairly calm, and I was just able to rely on my feet a lot more, and as soon as you see a couple putts go in, it's just easy to get confidence from that. The difference from just like feeling like you're going to make every putt, and the first couple of days it was more like, oh, I could still miss this putt, even if it's 2.5 feet, just because of the wind. It just makes you feel so uncomfortable. So trying to just switch the mindset a little bit. The putt on the last was pretty sweet. The putt on 17 was big as well, but I don't know. I didn't make too many long putts. It was just like I made a decent amount of putts from 15 to 20 feet. A lot when I hit a lot of good approach shots in there, and you're hoping to make them. I just started making them a lot more over the last 2 days.
All right, we'll go to Swami and then Camp.
Viktor, when you came into the same place 5 days ago, you were not too sure about your game. You had played well, but not played well enough, as you said. What changed in these 5 days? And the second one, you seem to love Hero. You won your Hero Challenge or something in Abu Dhabi, and now 2 in a row here.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that's easy in practice to. I set very high goals for myself, and when I don't hit it the way that I want to hit it in practice, I get very frustrated, and I feel like I'm just way more out of it than maybe I truly am. Because when I haven't been hitting all that great and the tournament starts, all the technique and frustration just kind of goes out the window, and you kind of have to just play the game. And I just kind of just stayed within myself. I didn't try to hit any shots that I knew I didn't have. So one example that I was struggling with was that I was spinning the ball a lot, and if I hit a full shot, my face would turn to shut, and I would just kind of hit pull draws, which is not good if you're trying to hit pull cuts all day. So what I ended up just basically doing was that I just kind of chipped everything. I felt like I was going to have a Tommy Fleetwood kind of finish, if you will, just because I know where that's going to go. And frankly, it helped in the left to right winds because I can just kind of hit that pull draw up against the wind and it'll come back. And on the right to left winds, well, I either have to aim it pretty far right or I just have to lean the shaft really hard to make sure that that face doesn't turn over. So that's just like how I figured out how to play golf this week. Oh, and the hero, yeah. I mean, it's. I remember joking with Dr. Munjal that was my first professional win at the Abu Dhabi Hero Challenge, and yeah, I played in the Pro-Am with him in Dubai earlier this year, and obviously won this event two times. So I told him I've done well when he's been around.
Go to Cameron and then Bernie.
Victor, how would you characterize your 2022, and does this change the way you're going to think about this year?
Definitely feels a little bit better ending up with a win. I think it was a step in the right direction, even though I feel like I should have won more tournaments this year. You know, there's a couple that stinks, and but a couple of just tournaments that I just didn't play well enough, and there were too many weeks where I just kind of had to grind and get through the round instead of showing up and attacking and feel like I was going to shoot 7-8 under. You know, it was just too many times where it was, okay, if I play well, maybe I can shoot a couple under. And that's been a little frustrating, and I feel like I still have some work to do there, but this is obviously a huge step in the right direction.
Bernie?
Victor, congratulations and well done. Listen, it's been a great start to the European Ryder Cup qualifying process. Shane winning, yourself winning, John Rahm winning in Dubai. How do you think, how important is that going into the new season next year? And how delighted do you think Luke Donald would be?
Yeah, I think it's, obviously it's a year until the Ryder Cup, but if the whole team keeps playing well and getting a lot of momentum going into the week, I think that's great. You know, the American players last year certainly had an amazing year, and they kind of knew going into the tournament that they were the favorites. So I think we have a chance to kind of push it the other direction. The more Europeans that win, I think we can maybe change that narrative a little bit to next year. Yeah, but it's just it's cool to see fellow Europeans do well.
Go to Dave and then Martin.
Yeah, Victor, you just said a little bit ago it was a lot more stressful than I thought it would be, but you seem to handle stress well. I mean, when you get in these situations, it doesn't seem like you're necessarily looking stressful. How do you handle it, and what's the mindset?
Yeah, I've been in this situation a little bit more than when I first came out on tour. So I think the more you put yourself in that situation, you're going to handle it better. And I think just kind of throughout my childhood, not to say I've had a very good upbringing, but it's you know, whether it's taking the bus to school with a golf bag and my books and gym clothes, and it's packed on the bus. I got to stand there for an hour to school and then back home and then to practice. And I think those little things just makes you a little bit tougher. Growing up in Norway, it's not necessarily great for golf. I think you have to just make do with what you have. And I think those things just builds character a little bit and makes you handle stress a little bit better than, if you just had everything on a silver platter.
Martin, up here in the front.
Victor, what do you feel you've learned most about yourself in the past 12 months that pleases you?
I don't know. I don't really think like that. I just kind of, I go throughout the day and just think, have I had a good day? Have I done everything that I needed to do today to get to where I want to be tomorrow or next year or 5 years down the line? And I think as long as I do the things that I need to do, I think that makes me go to bed content. And I think the results are going to come from that. And if they don't, well, then I have to reevaluate and reassess. And just because I haven't gotten better or maybe I've worked on some bad things, I kind of look at it as a learning experience. I just try to get a little bit better every day, as cliche as that sounds.
One more from me, the new Hero Cup next month, obviously schedule-wise didn't sort of fit with you, but do you see that being an important part of Europe's preparation for Rome?
Yeah, I think so. Not quite the same thing, obviously, but growing up in junior golf in Europe, we would always have the European boys team championships and all these match play tournaments, where you have to play with a teammate. And then when I came to college, I didn't really do that all that much. And especially in pro golf, you don't really play all that team and match play tournaments. So I think that's just a unique opportunity to just have all the guys play match play and team up. I think it's great.
Go to Rick and then Doug.
Victor, I know you said you weren't all that happy with your putting the first 2 days, had a lot to do with wind, but when you look at statistically how much you've improved really over the last year, you talked about it early in the week, how rewarding is that to get the payout, I guess?
So how rewarding?
Yeah, to get the payout.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of to kind of summarize, when I first came out, I feel like my ball striking, the quality of the ball striking wasn't as good, but I hit it super, super straight. And it felt like I could shoot 2 to 3 under every single day without really making putts. And that was nice in one way, but as soon as I was a little bit off, I would shoot over par. Whereas this year, it's kind of been a little bit of the opposite, where my ball striking's been off, and I've been putting really well just to shoot a couple under par. So that's almost more frustrating, but at the same time, it kind of takes some pressure off your back where, okay, I don't have to stripe it to shoot under par. I can actually rely on my putting to hang in there. And over 72 holes, you're not going to hit great shots all the time. I had plenty of terrible shots today, but it's making those key putts and kind of keeping yourself in it. And that's been a reason why I've been able to be in contention without really hitting it all that well this year.
Got time for 3 more. Doug?
A couple things, Victor. Which was more fun, coming from six back or doing this?
I think coming from behind is more fun because you're more attack mode, you're more relaxed. To be honest, this was kind of a stressful week, just being in contention from the get-go and even having a 5-shot lead at the turn with 9 holes to play. I mean, it's 5 shots. It's hard to mess that up, but you see how close it can get on the final hole. So you just always have to hit the next shot. You can't relax, and as soon as you do, boom, that's a bogey, and suddenly Scotty makes a birdie, and he's right back there. So it's it takes a lot out of you, and I'm pretty tired.
And secondly, I know this felt like a long time ago, but the 6th hole was very interesting in terms of where you put it off the tee, him chipping in, and that putt you made was pretty big. I wonder if you could just kind of go through that.
Yeah, it was hit a terrible tee shot left, right behind the bush. So I basically just have to lay up with a pitching wedge, and I'm way back there, hit an 8-iron from the rough to kind of a nasty short left pin with a wind off the left. So I hit a great shot to just kind of 12, 15 feet right of the hole. Did kind of what I was supposed to do, but then Scotty chips in, and that changes things. But I remember just kind of getting a flashback to playing with Rory in the last group at the Open, where he made the bunker shot on number 10, and I still had a putt for birdie from probably 15 feet, and I was able to make that putt on top of his eagle. I think I still had the lead at that time, so it just kind of, instead of in the moment thinking, man, that was a sick shot, he just made eagle, and he's creeping up from behind. But at the same time, it's like, okay, this is a putt. I can make this putt. Every shot matters. Just kind of refocus. And, yeah, it's nice when you can kind of make those putts on top.
All right, Tia, and then our final question from Ewan.
Victor, I saw you practicing AimPoint in putting, and do you prepare this like victory good round with your team? If it's possible to explain to us, how do you make game plan and everything within your team?
Yeah, so when I first started working with my coach, Jeff Smith, he came to Carson Creek where I practice, and we just went out and played a few holes, and he just watched me putt a couple out on the course, and I would misread 15-footers by probably, 2 feet, and I would hit good putts. My reading abilities was just really, really bad, and that was at a golf course that I play at every single day I'm home, so I should know the greens. And he had some experience with AimPoint, so he basically said, okay, you need to really learn this. So the rest of the 9 holes, he just basically read the greens for me, told me where to aim, and I just started making everything. So that really kind of clicked in my head that, okay, I really need to master this. And obviously it's not a perfect system. I'm not going to make every single putt, but it gives me a framework to where I can trust that read, and most of the time it's going to be fairly close. And so what I do every single, what you saw on the practice green, I just kind of get some tees up, hit short putts, get the level out just to make sure that my feet are calibrated, and and then ready to go.
All right, last question from you, and right here on the right.
Victor, so many of us associate Norway with Erling Haaland and winter sports. I'm sure you're not offended by that. I just wonder, the more you do in this game and the more you win and the higher you go, has a reaction towards you back in Norway changed? Have you noticed it's become a bigger deal?
That's a good question. I don't look at social media all that often, and I spend most of my time in the United States, so it's hard for me to really see what's going on back home. But I get a bunch of text messages, and people seem to be paying close attention. That's kind of one thing about Norwegians, is that we're very patriotic. We only have 5-6 million people, but it seems like when Magnus Carlsen is winning, everyone tunes in and starts playing chess. Or if it's Thor Hushovd in Tour de France, everyone just started biking that summer. Or what Erling Haaland is doing is incredible, and obviously with Casper Ruud in tennis. So it's just people love their sports, and I think they root for their fellow countrymen when they do something well.
All right, Victor, congratulations, and thank you very much for your time.